Hi, I'm Robert Nielsen, and I'm one of the co-founders of Seed Token, or also known as Seed Vault. We are creating an economy for bot development. So developer tools, as well as the financial economy based on the blockchain. And we're trying to democratize AI and make it more available through conversational user interfaces, also called bots. And that means both textual, visual, video, avatar, etc. Bots will you often think of a communication between a human and a bot, but in many cases, you'll actually have bots talking to each other on your behalf. Imagine for a moment that you are back in the mid-1990s, knowing what you know now about the impacts of digital media and services. Imagine how you would invest your time, attention, money, and other resources at the beginning of this paradigm shift. Well, you have that opportunity now. We are at the beginning of our next paradigm shift from GUIs to CUIs. Again, CUIs are conversational user interfaces. Just like the changes we saw when we moved from command line interfaces, CLIs, to GUIs, everything will change again, with even more opportunities, new applications, and new users entering the network. With the last paradigm shift, untold new people were able to do uncountable new things with systems. We are not going to be tapping and typing into little screens every time we use services. Instead, we are going to be talking to these services. These paradigms will accelerate significantly in the next few years. As all of this is, all of this, even before we start talking about the massive job erosion due to machine automation. But why are conversations the catalyst? Consider that everywhere you have a profile, consider everywhere you have a profile, you'll have a bot. And most services will interact will be through bots. So your bots will interact with more bots. Think of it as have your people talk to my people. Tally in your mind every service on the internet and every profile of every user in those services. That's just the beginning of the number of bots that we'll be using. That's why we are minting 10 billion tokens. This is going to be a huge economy, and it will touch everything and everyone. Today, conversational interfaces are already beginning to transform products and services and the markets that they're in. And the line between the future and the present, and from science fiction and marketplace fact, are starting to blur. This is all made possible by the rapid development of back-end machine learning technologies like pattern recognition and natural language processing, NLP. But will be of limited value on the conversational front end without conversational user interfaces. AI has largely been used for the back end. We need to make that available all the way up to the end user. This creates awesome new opportunities that we haven't seen since the GUI paradigm shift that happened. But this shift isn't without its challenges as well. Conversational interfaces are not easy to build, and when we get them wrong, they drive us mad with annoyance. This is one of the reasons only a few companies currently have the resources to create these sophisticated bots. And today's conversational user interfaces, again, CUIs, can be funny or sad experiments. This shift won't reach its potential as long as only a few large multinationals have access to these tools. AI and conversational user interfaces are too critical for the advancement of digital services and economies to leave to a few global corporations bent on owning the data and controlling all those relationships. What we need is something more independent, just like how the web developed in the early days. We need new tools so that developers and more developers can develop better bots and that they can use, and then platforms to run them on. Today, there's only about basically 10 large entities that can afford to develop sophisticated conversational user interfaces. We also need independent standards, roughly equivalent to, say, HTML and CSS and those related web technology standards that developed in the last paradigm shift. so that we're not beholden to these large entities just to advance our interfaces. That's why we are driving an independent global technology standards so that the conversational user interface solutions can be interoperable. That's why we've created Seed. We're leveling the playing field with open source, independent of alternatives to the corporations that currently dominate conversational user interface, CUI, and AI technologies. And we're building it all on the blockchain, so it can authenticate bots and their actions. This helps us to trust them, and it allows them to be compensated. Both the bot developers can be compensated in the most ideal way every time their code runs, and users will also be able to pay just as they're using things. So you'll have both sides of this conversation, lots of microtransactions. We're building the economy to support this. Blockchain is the obvious, perfect solution for this challenge. We'll be putting stores on the blockchain so developers can easily make money through their contributions. And these stores, by the way, will have to have some very fun features of trying to do bot matchmaking, because if you're looking for something, how do you find a bot that does the right thing? How do you negotiate, get the best price, or find the right terms that you're interested in, et cetera, et cetera. It's a very interesting problem. This allows developers and deployers to more quickly and easily create CUIs and employ AI. It also allows users to control the data that bots collect about them. The data that you have about you is valuable. And right now, you give that data away to everybody. But wouldn't it be nice if you could selectively control who gets your data, and maybe you get compensated for it? Or maybe by giving your data away under certain circumstances in certain ways, you're able to receive a service at a discounted price or free. That should be and will be your choice. It's the publishing system we've all talked about for decades, but we've never built. It gives us control over our data, including effective data, all the way back to the user. In these ways, the Seed platform democratizes AI and puts people first. People, trust, and fairness need to be baked into the system this time. In this way, it will reward the people for their positive contributions. And it's all nearly ready. We're working with engineers and engineers to build the platform. Its APIs, protocols, open source frameworks, interfaces, middleware protocols, and middleware protocols that are already in use with Fortune 500 companies. Not only are we building the infrastructure and the platform, but we're kicking off with an open source IP tools, templates, and even key patents, all being released in our GitHub repository. And everything that we do with this company will end up in the open source. We will not have proprietary pieces that we hold back. Every line of code we write, every document we have will be in the open source. We plan to demonstrate not only the functionality, but the utility on the blockchain before any token generation event. We should now have this functionality ready within the next couple of weeks. And we're doing it all through a nonprofit, so it's acquisition resistant, and its focus will always be on serving users and developers. For me personally, this was one of the reasons I wanted to join Seed Vault and really want to be part of this, is that from the beginning, it's designed to have essentially no assets that can be acquired. The last thing people need is for us to develop this great bot economy and have there be this big distributed community, and then suddenly Wells Fargo comes in and acquires it, right? That's everybody's nightmare. And we are doing everything we can do to make sure that there's nothing interesting for us or for people to acquire. There's nothing that they can't acquire. We're doing everything possible to make sure that we are as acquisition resistant as possible. On the team, we have experienced developers, advisors, trustees that are on the blockchain, bot developers, anti-money laundering, and know your customer industries. You can all read about them as well on LinkedIn or on our website. That's why we created Seed. We're leveling the playing field with open source, in the independent alternative to the corporations that currently dominate conversational user interfaces and AI technology. But we've just gotten a start, and we can't do it alone. We're looking for developers, engineers, anthropologists, ethicists, and others. Please join us. All set. Thank you very much.
Hey, thanks, Robert. We are back. So, thank you. And what I understood now, you're currently having anyway a 2-day workshop. Perhaps you can tell our community or our viewers what you are working on currently now. You presented already some stuff, but
Well, we're actually having I guess theoretically it was only supposed to be 2-day engineering summit here. So we flew everybody in and into San Francisco here, and we're basically getting everybody together in the same room. It's very productive to be shoulder to shoulder sometimes with your peers, but we have people from all over the world that are involved in this effort, and really a lot of what we're doing right now is taking a lot of the things that we've done. We're trying to clean them up enough that we can release them and get them out into the open source. Things like .bot, .flow, Hadron, Actor. These are technologies that we have done, and we will be releasing these into the open source using our Git using our GitHub account. So if you want to see what we're up to in many regards, you can see what we're throwing over the wall in a sense and asking the community, hey, look, here are things that we have done. Tell us what you think. For instance, we have several things: .bot, .flow, Actor, and Hadron. These are 4 things that we're currently put up on the website. They all use a JSON description format. So .bot, .flow, and Actor are all using sort of essentially JSON description files. And Hadron, which uses JavaScript, of course, knows how to interpret JSON, so that as well. .bot is a human-readable open source model for building a range of conversational AI. .flow is a description to represent the conversation between users and bots and bots and bots. So trying to describe that level. Okay. Actor is a hard thing to come up with a one-liner. Actor is a description and a protocol to animate avatars, and being able to start up an avatar and have the avatar receive information, feed information back and forth, and have the avatar react and morph and change as it is appropriate based on the inputs that it's getting, etc. Actor's quite interesting. Hadron is an extensible framework which includes an embeddable web client and a middleware layer to build conversational user interfaces. In this case, it would be a human on one end and a bot on the other end. We like to think of Hadron as a channel, just like we think of Slack, Telegram, Facebook Messenger, Skype for Business, Signal. Those are all what we call channels. So those are the kinds of things that we're putting forth in the world and saying, hey, look, here's our first stab at it. We'd really like to get partners, if you will, people to come in and contribute, tell us all the things that are wrong with it, maybe bring things to the table that work that they've done, or work that their employer has done, or needs that they have, or things that aren't covered. So in the true open source sense of the model, we want people to go in and take a look and give us the feedback of what we need to do and what needs to change, and let's be collaborative. We can't do this alone. And what we're really trying to do is we're trying to empower the smaller independent people and organizations, engineers, developers, etc. And the way to do that is through the open source model. So this fits really nicely for us.
Yeah, and by the way, as we are anyway partner from Bottish with Seed, I believe that we can share very soon, like all the news or all the updates and how to get involved. As viewers or our participants, our members, and and beside that, I have to say I'm now involved as well, like looking for partners. So. And yes, we have some great partnerships in the pipeline already. A lot of companies we are talking to. So I'm really looking forward what comes next. And I think if you don't have any questions or comments, or ask us like here on the chat or by via Twitter by the hashtag bottish. And if not, then we have like now a 10-minute break, and then we make a short roundup with all the presenters we had, like the 90 minutes before, some insights. So we will have Romeo, Aaron, and yourself, and Stefan, who will ask you like some nice questions. But yes, please make comments, ask questions, and see you then like in 12 minutes time. We are back, not here, but change the channel on the panel, and have a coffee, have a short break, and talk to you later.
Okay, you'll send me the link for the next thing, yeah?
Exactly.
I think it's already.
Yeah.
I just want to say I just want to say a lot of my focus for the last month or so has been getting all the blockchain piece working so that we actually are able to do have the bots do activities and have that show up on the blockchain. And there's a lot of infrastructure to get right to do that. And we're within a week or two of basically showing off our first example of an actual bot interaction front end going all the way down and affecting the blockchain. And as we do this work, we're going to put this up on the website, and we're going to be able to create test nets where people can come and just basically experiment on our test net. And the whole design of our test net is basically come in, do all the science experiments, ask your friends to try to break into the system. Like, the test net is going to be something where you could do anything you want, and we'll just basically rebuild the test net, you know, maybe every day, you know, maybe twice a day, you know, I don't know, we'll figure it out. But the whole idea here is that we want to do all the things wrong on the test net so that we finally get to the main net, then, you know, things will be secure and solid and everything else. This is one of the many offerings that we're going to do for developers so that they can in fact develop these tools and you know, get a lot of infrastructure right off the bat. So
okay, cool. No, thanks for your update, Robert. And as I said, have a coffee, grab a coffee. We'll see you like in 10 minutes time. So see you guys. See you later. And yes, enjoy.
Thank you very much.
Enjoy the break. Yes.
Will do.
Bye.